So first and foremost, my name is Ranger Nick. I want to welcome you guys to Norris Geyser Basin. Welcome to Yellowstone National Park. We do have a few safety things I need to cover with you while we're here. Again, we are in an active geyser basin, so we ask that many visitors here, actually all of them, stay on trail. Okay? The ground out here is very dangerous in many places. What looks stable probably isn't. People have been severely injured and even killed ignoring that advice and just simply taking a step or two off the boardwalk. In many cases, the ground will break beneath them, or they can trip and fall into a hot spring. Many of our hot springs reach temperatures around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Your hot tub at home, probably about 100, 104. Okay, so it's very uncomfortable. Another thing too is that, what is this? That's right. This is a finger, okay? This is not a thermometer, all right? If you are really curious to see how hot something is, come find someone wearing a uniform and a hat like me. We generally have a good understanding of how hot some of the features are. Another thing too is that we ask folks not to throw anything into the geysers or hot springs. They are some of the rarest geological features that we have here on the planet. They are not trash cans. Rocks and sticks and stones can actually get into the vent, clog it, and turn it off and actually destroy the geyser, causing irreparable damage that we cannot fix. Okay? So that being said, I also want to remind you guys that next year is 2016. It is the 100-year anniversary of the National Park Service. So no matter where you are, I ask that you celebrate 100 years in your local national park protecting landscape like this. So what brought you guys to Yellowstone? Why did you decide to drive halfway across the country?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because some of my friends went there and they said it was cool.
Okay.
They had a lot of fun things to do.
How about you guys?
Well, we have been here before, but it's one of my favorite parks, so, and we're also traveling to Glacier, so we're kind of making our way in a trailer across the country.
Impressive, okay. So we come back here for a lot of reasons, either to remember old memories or create new ones. There's a few things that we want to see in Yellowstone that we generally can't find in Minnesota or in Maryland. What are some of those things that you guys want to find here on your trip?
Bison.
Bison. What else?
These thermal features.
Geysers, yeah, thermal activity. Bears. What do you want to see? A moose. All right. Moose are actually one of the #1 questions I get. Where are the moose? We can cover that a little bit later, but I want to talk about what you pointed out, thermal features. So Yellowstone has one of the highest concentrations of geyser activity on this planet. We have actually over 50% of all geysers reside in the park here in Yellowstone. So with that high concentration, we also have a huge variety of different geysers too, and different thermal features. So let's going to cover the different thermal features that we have here in the park. All right? So geysers need 3 ingredients in order to become a geyser, all right? So what's one of those ingredients?
Steam.
Yeah, steam, yeah, it's a good ingredient. But that's going to be, what is steam made out of?
Water.
Absolutely, yeah, so water. So all that water that fell on us last night is going to fall on us next week too. It's going to percolate through the ground. Now, it's going to percolate through the ground and something's going to happen to it beneath the ground. What's that second ingredient that's going to change that water?
Heat?
Heat, yeah. Well, we call it magma underneath, and then it's lava when it gets to the surface. But heat, yeah. So what causes the heat beneath us? So there's a volcano beneath you. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
There's a large volcano right beneath you. Are we okay with that fact? No? Okay, well the nearest entrance is probably out west Yellowstone in an hour. Yeah, I like to tell the rangers at the gate, don't say welcome to Yellowstone, you should tell to the folks, welcome to the volcano. Because without that volcano, without that heat source beneath us, we don't have the large amount of thermal activity that we have here in the park. And it's actually fairly shallow. So throughout the continental United States, the crust here is generally about anywhere between 30 to about 20 miles thick of crust, okay? Here at Yellowstone, it's a little bit shallower, all right? So, hi. I gotta pick on you a little bit. So you know we're talking about that magma, that volcano beneath us?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little shallower than other places on the planet, hence why all the thermal activity. It's about 8 to 10 miles down right here. Okay, so I want you to do me a favor. If this gets a little too warm, can you let me know? Okay, excellent. Absolutely, that's awesome. So that magma is shallow. It's actually right beneath them. Okay, so if they just get up and leave, we will follow. Because it's so shallow, it heats the rock above it. So the water that percolates through the rock is heated, it's pressurized, turned to steam, and then it comes back to the surface. Now a geyser needs one other thing, another ingredient before it gets to the surface. A vent, a hole, a plumbing system, fissures, cracks. So basically how we classify our thermal features is its plumbing system. Geysers like Steamboat right here actually have a constriction in their plumbing system. So that allows for the pressure underneath to build, and then finally hits a breaking point, and you have your eruption. Did you guys pass by Emerald Spring on the way here? No. Yeah? Not yet? Well, when you do get past Emerald Spring, it's going to be a lovely smelling spring. Yeah, you smelt it, right?
Oh, is that the one that we just
Yeah, just
okay, yeah, we did.
It smells great. So, just to let you guys know, most of the gas that's coming out of Emerald Spring and out of Steamboat, 90% of it is water vapor, okay? Don't got to worry about that. The next 5% is carbon dioxide. After that, the next two most prominent gases are going to be sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Absolutely. That's that rotten, eggy smell that you guys are going to be smelling, okay? So, Emerald Spring does not have a constriction. The water there just percolates up to the surface. So imagine a boiling pot of water. On the bottom, the water's hot, it rises. That heat rises, it cools, and then comes back to the bottom. The surface temperature at Emerald Spring is generally about 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's on the surface. That's cool. Boiling temperature at this altitude is 198. Okay? Keep that in mind. We also have fumaroles here in Yellowstone National Park. They are the hottest thermal features that we have in the park. We actually have one of them in Porcelain Basin. It's called Black Growler. Fumaroles are different. So their plumbing system taps deep, deep into the ground. So they get close to that hot heat source, okay? They also have a limited water supply. So any water that does go into that plumbing system turns directly into water vapor, okay? And it comes shooting out of the ground. Fumaroles generally reach temperatures over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The one in Porcelain Basin, Black Growler, has been measured at 260 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? That is hot enough to melt fingertips. So we also have another feature in the park called mud pots. Now we don't have any mud pots here at Norris, but there are a few down south at Artist Paint Pots, about 5 miles. Mud pots are like hot springs, except they have an extra key ingredient. They have sulfuric acid in them. And that sulfuric acid basically breaks down the surrounding rock and helps create the lovely mud that we see there. Now, there's another particular thing that likes to live in mud pots, and it's called a thermophile, or what we like to call a heat-loving organism. All right? This particular organism is a bacteria, and it's called Sophilobus. Can you guys say that with me? Sophilobus. Excellent. You learned a new thing today. Sophilobus likes to eat sulfur. So that lovely smell that you're smelling, it likes to eat that. So it likes to eat that for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, and maybe occasional midnight snack. Could you guys imagine eating something that smelled like that for your whole life? Well, this organism has adapted to live not only in a very acidic environment, a very hot environment, but its food source is probably a very smelly food source as well. So, next time you go down to a mud pot, you'll notice a very distinctive smell of that particular sulfur. Let's talk about Steamboat. So right now, Steamboat is doing minor eruptions. They do occur every few minutes, anywhere from 10 to 40 feet high from 2 different vents. Now, Steamboat is the world's tallest active geyser on this planet. So why is it not the most popular?
It doesn't erupt as frequently.
That's right, because it's unpredictable and random. Now, what do you think is the most popular geyser we have here in Yellowstone?
Old Faithful. Mom.
Why?
That's faithful.
Because it's regular, because it's faithful. Most of the time, by the way. It generally erupts every 90 minutes or so, going from a height of anywhere from 80 to 120 feet high. So when folks come to Yellowstone, they want to see that geyser, right? Because they expect to see it at a certain time. Old Faithful reminds us of our lives back home. It reminds us of having everything timed and planned out, right? It's not why you're here. Yellowstone is a wild place. This is a place of wilderness at its prime. And that's what Steamboat can provide for you. I mean, Old Faithful's great in its own right. I love it. It's a lovely geyser to see. You can watch it, all right, and then in 10 minutes later, you guys got to get those reservations at Old Faithful Lodge, right? Those are very hard to get, by the way, for dinner. So it's nice to have that kind of planned out, to see an active geyser. But again, Steamboat doesn't provide that. What Steamboat provides is what Yellowstone is. And that, again, is wilderness. So if there's any message I want you guys to leave with today, is that appreciate the unexpectedness that wilderness can provide. Because Steamboat, when it does have a major eruption, is the world's tallest active geyser on this planet, reaching heights of over 300 feet of water shooting into the sky. And since we're talking about height, the top of those trees to the vent is about 40-45 feet. These eruptions are random and unpredictable, and we actually had an eruption last year, on September 3rd. We're going to travel back in time, all right? The year is 2014. It is September 3rd, around 11 p.m. at night. And Ranger Nick here was in Canyon with a few other rangers, making sure everyone had put their food away in the campground. Didn't leave anything out for the bears or the animals, okay? Because we don't want folks to feed the bears. Now, over the radio, a ranger friend of mine calls me and says, Nick, you'd be interested to know what's going on at North. Steamboat's having a major eruption. And I go, no, you're yanking my chain. Because Steamboat can have a major eruption anywhere between 4 days to 50 years in between eruptions. And my luck is not that good. So I reply back on the radio, and mind you, every ranger can hear me, and I go, ha, ha, ha. And what this ranger does, he's standing in the parking lot, about a mile away, lifts his radio up and keys the mic, and I can hear it. And I realize Steamboat's having a major eruption. So several rangers and I, we jump into a patrol vehicle, we drive as fast as we can, but safely. Okay? Alright? We get to within 5 miles of where we're standing, and we can see the water and steam rising above the tree line with the full moon in the background, not a cloud in the sky, but Steamboat. We pull into the parking lot, and the sound is almost tremendous. We come running down to here. You guys remember passing that bench back there? The bench was wet. It hadn't rained in 3 days. We come running up to here. We pass that junction just down the way, and the boardwalk is literally shaking beneath our feet. I come running right up to here. And there's a handful of rangers and a few visitors from the campground 2 miles away. We got woken up. And they are drenched. They are soaked to the bone, but they're not burnt. They're not even warm.
Because the water goes up high that when it comes down, it gets colder.
Absolutely. Another factor too that night was because the air temperature was 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. So within a couple hours, this whole boardwalk was a nice sheet of ice. Now, I missed the water eruption. My luck is not that good. Okay? But what I did see was I did see the steam phase directly afterward. And the steam phase was much taller than 300 feet. Does anyone want to take a guess on how tall that steam phase was?
600?
600 feet right here? We're going to start the banging at 600 right here. At 6 right here. At 600. We're at 6.5. We're at 6.5. We're at 6.5. Right here. 6 right here. We're sticking with 6. 6, 6, 6. I hear 1,000 right here. 1,000 right here. High bidder. High bidder. High bidder. High bidder. 1,000 right here. 1,000 right here. 1,000 right here. 1,000. We're here. 1,005. 5,000 feet right here. Gentlemen up front in the white. Oh, wow. That is 8,000. Wow, you guys are good bidding war here. I like this. Well, if you had joined me that evening, standing right here on the boardwalk, you would have seen steam rising 1,500 feet into the sky. Now, I grew up near downtown Chicago, and the tallest building there for the longest time was the Sears Tower, or the Willis Tower, at 1,400 feet. If Steamboat had a major eruption in downtown Chicago, it would be the tallest thing around a city of 10 million people. That steam phase lasted for 3 weeks. It slowly diminished, of course, and for 3 weeks, nobody went to Old Faithful. Because that is Steamboat. It is such a rare event to occur. We had an eruption last year. We were lucky to see it. We also had an eruption before then, on July 31st of 2013. The eruption before that was May of 2005. Steamboat gives no sign before a major eruption. It could erupt any minute. It could erupt right now. Or not. That is Yellowstone, and that is wilderness.